And we welcome you to At Issue. My name is H. Wayne Wilson, and I have the pleasure of having the mayor and the city manager of Peoria here to discuss a lot of issues, most importantly, budgetary issues, because it is budget time in the city of Peoria. And to have that discussion, I welcome the city manager of the city of Peoria, Patrick Urich, is here. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, H. Glad to be here.
And the mayor of the city of Peoria, Jim Artis. How many years have you been mayor?
Going on 11, H.
You notice how he said that? Going on 11, H. It was a long meeting. This was taped on Wednesday, and it was a long meeting last night. We were there till 11 o'clock at night. So let's get started with some of the serious issues that you face. And I mentioned budget right off the top. How big is the hole that you have to fill?
The hole that we have to fill, based on our last estimates in August, is $5.8 million across all of our funds. But more problematic than the $5.8 million is our general fund, which is where we pay all of our staff and where all of our general tax revenues come in. There we have a $7.2 million hole that we need to fill. And that's a structural hole that we've got to look at closing. And simply put, our expense base has been growing faster than our revenues. And we've had to now look at this. We had a policy session on the 6th of October where we talked about some potential cuts that we could make to reduce the size of city government, but also at the same time, what other potential revenue increases we would have. So we're going to be in the next month really trying to zero in, address this from a structural standpoint, where we can get the organization right-sized, but also looking at the revenue side as well. I think that when you look at it, we're 135 positions fewer than we were in 2009. If you take those 135 positions and extend that out to today from the last 6 years, that would be $20 million added to our current budget that we would have to carry. So the City Council has made difficult decisions along the way to reduce the size of city government. And it's just simply the challenges that we face in this environment.
But you can only right size for so long, and at some point you have to look at revenue increases. How much more right sizing can occur? And I'll give you an example. During the economic downturn, road repairs were kind of cut back, and now you're paying the price, and you're trying to catch up. And how far can you take right sizing, and what revenue sources might you look at, new revenue sources?
You know, H, I think that the typical person out there thinks that there's always a lot of fat in the government that you can take out. And as the manager said, you know, we've significantly reduced our workforce over the last 5 or 6, 7 years. I don't think that there's a lot more room to go. I mean, we've outsourced most of our engineering functions, a lot of those things that we used to do. For the most part, we have police officers, firefighters, and some public works folks that are trying to maintain those roads. There just isn't a lot of fat there. That's the longer answer to, you know, how much more can you right size? I don't think that there's a lot more bodies that can be eliminated, you know, from our system to help us solve this budget. So we are going to look at that, and I would not be surprised if we had a small reduction in force this year. And and it's not low-hanging fruit. It's some things that are definitely going to have an impact on services to our community. But they're things that I'm anticipating the manager is going to propose to us. In terms of revenue, the council has not been and isn't in a position where we've said, you know, we're not going to do any revenue. But we also haven't relied on potential revenue to balance this budget. I think we're doing the prudent thing. We're looking at ways that we can streamline, if there's anything else to do that, make ourselves more efficient, looking at all those other opportunities, seeing where we are. We're going to defer some capital again this year too. We don't have the ability to get everything that's in the capital budget done this year anyway. We'll defer a portion of that to help balance this budget. And then whatever that gap is, be it in my opinion, very unlikely that it'll be a property tax. But you know, there's huge stormwater issues that everyone's aware of. We've been talking about the CSO. We'll probably talk about it more today. Stormwater, We have smaller revenue streams that have been discussed before, package tax on liquor and other taxes like that. Sales tax, it's a tough one to do, but it brings in a lot of revenue. There's been discussions on doing a smaller sales tax and devoting all of that money towards our huge pension costs. Gasoline tax on fuel can raise some dollars too. And there's others, but those are really kind of the big areas that we can look at to try to help offset, some of the other side of the balance sheet.
Those revenue sources, are you going to recommend any or all of those?
We're going to put everything on the table that we can. I'll craft a balanced budget that I'll probably be giving to council next Tuesday evening with some revenue recommendations and some expense recommendations cuts that we'll be making as well. And then ultimately we'll begin the dialogue over the next few weeks with the council about what they want to do. I want to start them though from a balanced budget so that they're not working with trying to having to fill a hole to begin with. At least then they know that if nothing else changes, they'll have a balanced budget.
Some of the items that the mayor mentioned have been implemented by other communities. Bloomington Normal raised the sales tax. Eureka and many others have just recently put in a storm water utility
Correct.
tax. Pekin for some time has had packaged liquor tax. So it's not like you're setting a new, you're not standing out from amongst the other communities.
No, and I think, H, though, the reality is we haven't adjusted our property tax rate in over 25 years. I mean, people have paid a higher amount in property taxes because the value of their homes has increased. But this city council, and I've been here for almost 17 years, and the councils preceded us, have always been very sensitive to the impact of a property tax. And I think that does stay there. I think that's really going to be a hard one for us to do. The biggest reason we don't feel that there's a lot of give in that because, a lot of the other taxing bodies have not been as judicious as we've been, and they've raised their portion of the property tax to where we don't really feel like there's a whole lot of wiggle room left for us to go in there. We're providing the services that we provide, police, fire, public works, and all the other areas that we do on 11 cents of each person's tax dollar. So we're doing all of what we're doing for 11 cents. I think it's a good value, but it's actually costing us money in the long run.
Mayor, you mentioned the property tax, and Governor Rauner has suggested that there be a property tax freeze across the state. As far as I know, that has no impact on Springfield. What kind of impact does it have on the city of Peoria?
Well, when you take the fact that I just said we haven't raised our property taxes on the outside, you'd say, well, if you stay consistent with that, it's probably not going to hurt us if he does a 2-year freeze. But looking at the fact that we haven't done it for 25 years, that's definitely something that it's just taken one more potential revenue stream off the table for us in a very difficult time. The bigger problem for Peoria and the other municipalities in the state, when you look at this proposal, is at the same time they're talking about potentially freezing property taxes, they're also withholding other revenues from us, and potentially reducing some revenues. Our portion of the state income tax is something that is state law, what that equation is, and they're just talking about keeping a piece of that. So when they freeze on the real estate, potentially freeze us on the real estate, and so we don't have any opportunity to help that, and then they take money away from us that's already coming, they're really hamstringing the city, all of us, in our ability to balance our budgets. We don't borrow money to balance our budgets like they do in Springfield and Washington, D.C. We balance our budget every year without borrowing money. So when we get in a situation like this, and the manager talked about our expenses going up. Our expenses in the city of Peoria aren't going up because we're just spending like drunken sailors. The majority of the expenses that are being passed to us in the city are our pension costs and our health care costs for our employees. That is where almost all of that new expense is coming from. Springfield hands out the pensions for our folks. We have no ability. People ask, well, why did you negotiate such nice pensions? And when the fact is, we didn't. Springfield did. That's what we're trying to overcome.
But you're responsible for the payment of those.
We pay for it. So that's a challenge. And look, you know, I've taken some grief from some folks for putting a spotlight on that. We're not saying our folks don't deserve good pensions. They do. Our police officers and firefighters in this day and age do an unbelievable job, an unbelievably thankless job, and they deserve a good pension. Springfield has never been able to understand that, you know, the sweeteners that they continue to put in and hand us the check on the way out the door, it's not sustainable. There is no actuary that you can find that will tell you that the way this pension system is set up in our state is sustainable. We can't tax our citizens into a place to make that work. The numbers don't come out.
The mayor pointed out that the state is withholding some funds. For example,
The video gaming proceeds, motor fuel tax proceeds to the city, all of that, while in a large setting is not a huge revenue stream for us in its totality, does, when you start to add it up, become a challenge from a cash flow perspective. They're in segregated accounts. We use the video gaming proceeds for our capital budget. We use the proceeds of our motor fuel tax funds to pay for our road construction work. So it's going to impact us from a cash flow standpoint. But coupling that with all of the other issues is where it becomes a bigger challenge.
Mayor, you mentioned the police do a good job. Sometimes the public measures how good of a job the city of Peoria and the police department are doing by the number of murders. That varies from year to year, from 3 to 24 in recent years. You're running a little high this year, 14. Tommy Forrest was the 14th murder of the year. You've touted ShotSpotter, spent $500,000 on ShotSpotter.
Correct.
And you've touted Don't Shoot program and the call-ins. What can you say about the security of the community?
Well, you're right, H. People do tend to measure a sense of security based on the number of homicides that a community has, and that's because, you know, the homicides get all the attention. I mean, it is big news when you lose life. It's big news. So it's hard to argue against that, but the reality is the statistics bear out that the programs that we're using are reducing line item parts of the criminal element in our city. Our shootings are down. A lot of our violent crimes are down. You know, burglaries are up a little bit this year, I think. But all in all, the focus that we're putting is having a positive impact. You know, the things that you're seeing, Don't Shoot, for an example, is focused on gangs and guns. In the majority of the homicides that we've had this year, the guns have been involved, but the gangs haven't. So it's hard to know. It's like attacking domestic violence. It's one of those things that you don't have enough resources available to be able to stop domestic violence because it happens in unpredictable ways at unpredictable times. Same with a lot of these shootings. It's kind of a hard argument to understand, but I'm convinced, and the police officers, the professionals, feet on the street will tell you that the investment we made in ShotSpotter to identify where these shots are coming from have helped them solve many crimes and reduced other shootings just because the technology is out there. But what I was going to say is you get into a situation where you try to say, is Don't Shoot working? Is ShotSpotter working? Is this or that working? I'm not sure where we would be if we weren't as focused on these gun crimes as we are. I mean, I think we're making a significant impact on the community. The community at large is engaged in this now. And, you know, High Point was really the community that has been using the Don't Shoot David Kennedy philosophy the longest. And it's been almost 20 years that they've been doing this. And over 20 years, they've had some blips in there, but they have over 20 years significantly reduced their gun crimes. For any of us to believe that we're gonna start this process and all of a sudden have no shootings in 2 or 3 years, it's not just getting the message out there and getting it done. It's the long-term maintenance and the long-term resolve that the community has to say, we're not going to accept this in our community. But you can't just say, okay, we're there, let's go tackle another problem.
The reference to High Point is High Point, North Carolina.
Right.
Let's switch gears. And at this week's council meeting, Council Member Denise Moore mentioned that she wanted to add a sixth priority to the expenditures that are called CDBG funds, and that was job training. Mm-hmm. And she pointed to numbers: 27.8% in the 61605 zip code, 22% in 03 zip code, and she mentioned that 24/7 wallstreet.com came out with an analysis of the 10 worst communities, and Peoria is the 6th worst community. And I don't know what kind of technique they use, but the 6th worst for African Americans. Mm-hmm. First of all, do you agree with that assessment from 24/7 wallstreet.com? And what kinds of programs can help the African American community?
Well, first, I would say on its face, I don't have any way to dispute the study because they didn't publish their data. They talked about their methodology, and in their methodology, they used state data and metro data to come up with the numbers.
For the audience's benefit, that was based on median household income, the rate of poverty, high school and bachelor's attainment, degree attainment, home ownership, and unemployment.
And looking at that on a metro-wide level, and I think that's a key point to point out with this, is that this is a regional discussion that we need to have. Peoria is home to 80% of the non-white population in the region. So 4 out of every 5 non-white people live inside the city of Peoria. But they're using data from throughout the area to talk about all of those challenges that we're facing. The level of disinvestment that we've seen in parts of the city is not unknown. We've seen that, we've talked about that for years. We need to, and we're continuing to try and create an environment where we can see people reinvest back into our older neighborhoods, our heritage neighborhoods, back into downtown. But we also have the human side that we need to focus on. And from the Mayor's Summer Youth Program this year, where we put $125,000 into employing at-risk youth coming into the program, they were predominantly African American kids, to a 3-year-long investment we've had with the NAACP to work to try and get more minorities into the building trades. And we've worked closely with the building trades. To efforts that we've had over the years with our workforce development program. There are efforts that the city is undertaking to invest in growing our workforce, but we can't settle on that. There's more that we have to do because of those figures and statistics that you talked about are real. It affects the neighborhoods. The economic opportunity or lack of economic opportunity in our older neighborhoods is causing some of the other social problems that we were just talking about. So we know that we have to deal with it.
Mayor, let's extend the employment opportunity discussion to Caterpillar. Caterpillar recently announced 5,000 layoffs through 2016, possibly another 5,000 after that, worldwide. No specific information on Peoria, but that can't be good news. Have you had discussions with Caterpillar regarding employment, and have you had discussions with them regarding the World Headquarters schedule?
We have. We don't have a lot of inside, actually we don't have any inside information on how those numbers might break down. We're anticipating that since Peoria is the home for the World Headquarters and they have so many offices here that we're going to have a higher percentage of those folks that are going to let go. So we have had conversations with them. I think once the determination is made how many are going to take an early retirement and so on, those numbers are going to come into clearer focus. But at least in terms of the new World Headquarters, Caterpillar said the same day that they made the announcement, and we have been reassured that privately, is that all plans are for the World Headquarters to still be built in Peoria. I don't think it's going to impact the overall schedule. They said that was going to be an 8 to 10 year time frame from start to finish. I think it'll still happen within that time frame. With this announcement, I don't think that we're going to see what we wanted to see sooner. I think that's probably going to be delayed until the economy shapes up a little bit.
Let's stay downtown and talk about that hotel that has been closed for so long. Everyone was excited. the Marriott, the Courtyard opened up. During that construction process, Four Points closed, somewhere around 300 rooms or so. That makes it difficult for the Civic Center sales staff to book conventions. It's an empty building. What's the future of that property, knowing that Hawkeye Hotels actually bought the property at bid, and across the street, the parking lot? What's the status of that?
Well, Hawkeye Hotels was the winning bidder. They have yet to close on the property. They will. They're in their due diligence period right now, and hopefully what we'll see from that, they've had some initial conversations with our staff about the level of investment that they think that they're going to need to put into the hotel to get it back up and operational. They also, all of the FF&E is in a warehouse in Peoria, so it's here and it's ready to be utilized. So it's just a matter of getting back in, putting some of the finishing touches on the work that was already done by the previous owner, and then getting it back online. The 300 rooms are essential to Peoria. Across the street, with the parking lot right next to the Madison Theater, we have been in discussions with Katie Kim, who is an interested developer, to look at potentially putting in a mixed-use facility on that location, working with the Comfort family that owns the Madison Theater. I think the biggest challenge that development deal faces is coming up with a viable, economically viable business plan for the theater. That's the big issue, because there's such an amount of cost that would have to go into the renovation of the theater itself. The bars and the building on that fronts Main Street can be converted into just about anything. The challenge is, what do you do with that large theater that has been sitting fallow for so long? And I think that's really the biggest issue.
With leaky roof problems and many more
Significantly leaky roof problems, yes.
Let's go south a little bit from downtown, the Warehouse District. At this week's council meeting, the council approved the redevelopment agreement for the Murray building. Also, 214 Pecan Street is on the books. What's the status of the Warehouse District from your perspective? Are we making the progress we need to make? And in your answer, address the issue of how important extending the historic tax credit is, which expires at the end of next year.
Yeah, well, the historic tax credit piece is really important to the potential developers, because most of those buildings qualify for that. Those historic tax credits, and because so much money needs to be put into these buildings to bring them back into code, but also to keep some of the historically significant architecture and components of the building. It's expensive to do. It's a lot, and that really is one of the reasons that it's taken time for the Warehouse District to get this level of interest, because a developer that just wants to come into a community and build some housing or some mixed-use commercial first floor with residential above, you go out and do that in a green space. It's significantly cheaper. It's a lot quicker, and that's just the way to go. But when you look at the unique character of the Warehouse District, its proximity to the Central Business District, Caterpillar, College of Medicine, medical campus. That is really kind of the magnet that has a lot of people excited about the Warehouse District. So the historic tax credits are important just because it's an additional potential way to help finance it. Now, with that said, we're going to be very active, as we were when they approved those tax credits the first time. We're going to be very active in Springfield to go down there and tell the success stories of how it's positively impacted our city and positively impacted the state's budget. It doesn't cost the state money to issue tax credits. It actually incentivizes more spend, increases more people into the area. But what the Warehouse District, what we're seeing is, we've been talking about the pent-up need for more residential. And so it's the 3 or 4 projects that we've already approved this year are moving us in that direction, and there's still demand. So we're excited about that.
Real briefly, go ahead, Patrick.
I think we've approved over 97 new apartment units with just the 3 developments this year alone. You add in the seal test building that Pat Sullivan is working on, and we're well over 100. And
real quickly, are any of the big 6- and 7-story buildings Are they under consideration by any developers?
We do have some of the bigger buildings are under consideration by developers. They're continuing to look at what it's going to take to get those up. That's where the historic tax credits really can come into play.
And with that, we'll have to wait to see if Springfield extends that historic tax credit. Thank you to Patrick Urick, who is the city manager for the city of Peoria.
Thank you.
And to Jim Ardis, who is the mayor of the city of Peoria.
Thanks, Edge.
And thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with another edition of At Issue, when we'll be talking to state legislators about a lot of different things happening in, well, maybe not happening in Springfield. Join us next week on At Issue.